practicing YouTube anymore.
Well, that's quite all right. I'm more curious about your abilities. I heard you were into opening portals and stuff like that. I read some of your works. I don't even remember where. What is your experience with channeling entities in particular?
Uh, I don't know, it's kind of a natural gift I have.
I
I didn't
see.
really learn it from someone. I just kind of had it. I was kind of born with it.
So have you always been able to talk to entities since you were small, or just be aware of them maybe?
I was just aware of them when I was smaller. When I was a kid, I was just aware of them. I didn't start developing and really developing it until I discovered the starseed movement in the early 2000s.
What is that?
Uh, they're aliens that reincarnate as humans, usually for the purpose of the Earth's ascension. That's how I discovered. That's how I discovered more techniques and stuff about channeling and
Are
more of
they
the mechanics.
is that associated with like the archons of Gnosticism?
I think there may be some Gnosticism involved, but it's mostly New Age.
I see. I see.
Yeah, it was a Yahoo group I was in. It was called Starseeds and Lightworkers.
So were you able
And a
to
lot of people in there were Pleiadian.
I
A lot of
see.
Pleiadians in there. I think it's Hindu mythology or mix of Hindu and Christian mythology.
I
I think Gnosticism might have been part of it.
I recently read Bringers of the Dawn, which is supposedly a channeled work from the Pleiadians, and supposedly they're like the good aliens, right? They're the ones who want to help us.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I've heard it, but I haven't read anyone else's work.
I see. So you haven't gotten into contact with any of these beings?
No, I just stick to my own people.
I see.
I just figured there's already a dozen channels for all the other ones, and no one's doing mine, so I just stick to my own.
Well, tell me about that.
It's, man, it's like for 20 years, it's kind of hard to really pick any one event.
Well,
Like anyone like experience with it.
that's fine. I don't know if you have any stories or anything like that. Like you're basically the channel for Jacoba, right? At this point.
Yeah, I think I'm the only channeler of them. No one else has ever done them yet. No one else has tried to contact them.
Would you say you are an avatar of him, or is he totally separate from you?
No, he's totally separate.
What is his will for the Earth? He seems more ambiguous from what I've read. Not necessarily good, but kind of acting on his own accord.
Yeah, he's on his own. He just wants to do his own thing, and it keeps changing.
I see.
It keeps evolving different stuff. Originally, he just wanted to destroy humanity, and now he just wants to conquer and some other. It keeps changing. So I don't really know what his mission is.
So, so as far as most people are concerned, he's probably not their pal. He's probably not positive for them.
He's not that pal. He is pretty bad.
Does he have anything to do with our creation and evolution?
Not really. His first encounter with humans was from, I think, the 1700s. Was his first ever encounter with humans.
Do you know how that took place?
I know it has something to do with I know it was like in the 1750s. There was some contact between the Europeans, Germans, or British, or something like that, where he introduced the idea of scientific racism. But then I don't know the details of it. So I never really got into it.
I see. Well, that's very interesting.
It was too touchy to mess with, and nobody was interested in it because all the people were New Age. So no, I didn't want to get into. I didn't want to dig into it because nobody would be interested, and I didn't want to get involved in that because I didn't want the neo-Nazis getting access to my information. So
What would they do with it?
The Rokot are very speciesist, but since humans are only one species, we would divide up amongst the different cultures, like we did with scientific racism, and that would just get absorbed into that. It would get absorbed into the Nazi movement. Neo-Nazis would absorb it.
How do you think Jacoba would feel about that? Like, you seem to be against that. How would he feel?
Oh, he'd be all for it because he has human slaves on his planet, and they're divided by race. Because they abducted humans in the 1750s, brought them back to Chitasuna for a breeding program.
So
and I do have a lot of details about that information.
do you think this racial segregation is part of humanity, part of us biologically, or is this something else?
Yeah. It has nothing to do with us biologically because there never was anything before that. It
I
was
see.
it was all it was like culture against culture, but it was like slavery was just the losers of a war. And it wasn't until much later in history that it became more scientific life, like it is with the rocat species, because they got subspecies within their own group.
What is that
And they got
species?
more
What was that word you said?
subspecies.
But you said
The rocat,
ro-
the rocat, the alien race.
that is the human race?
No, the human race is different. The rocat is the alien race.
Okay, I got
What
you.
Jacob is part of.
Okay.
And
How
they have several subspecies, and there's a hierarchy of them, of who gets to be on top and which one's middle and which one's the bottom.
is it like a caste
And they serve
system?
different roles. Yeah, it's kind of like a caste system. They're born into it. And I think they try to bring that to Earth or something because humans look so different in different places of the world. We look very different. I don't know if the Rock understood that in the beginning or they used that to their advantage. I don't know what the deal was. I never dug into it.
Well, you said they have subspecies that are basically like a caste system. Well, first of all, what are the attributes of these beings? What are they, like mammalian or?
I think they're mammalian mostly. They do have alien features though, like internally though.
I
So
see.
they have fur on the outside. They have fur on the outside. At least one of the subspecies is covered in fur. And the other two don't. They just have like a lion's mane.
Okay,
And
could you run me down the subspecies and their appearances?
There's the rocat, the master race ones for the top higher order, the top caste,
Uh-huh.
and they're the leaders. They only make up like 1% of the population or something. They're like the leaders and stuff. And there's another one below that called the rocat warrior race, and they make up like 90% of the population, 95%. Of them, and they basically maintain civilization or whatever. They just do what they're told. They just take orders. And there's another one below that called the Shah Rokat, which is a black furry animal-like creature, which is what Jacoba actually is. And their purpose is simply to wage war.
I see.
They can't do anything else, but they can only do tactics, and that's all they're built for.
So
waging war.
It sounds like, as in comparison to humans, they are a colder, more analytical being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they see us as weak and waiting to be conquered because of our I don't know, how soft and squishy we are, both mentally and physically?
That's pretty much what their philosophy is.
I hear that a lot about the reptilians.
Yeah, they're actually a part of some of my texts where the rocat influenced reptilian evolution in the beginning.
I see.
There's a part in there. Like I think it was like billions of years ago. I think one of the reptilian races is like a billions of years old. And Jacob actually had a hand in their evolution by training them, and then guiding them by giving them a caste system too to help them with their evolution and becoming stronger.
Is this all information that's been given to you by Jacoba?
It's been given to me by dozens of the aliens.
I see.
I got stories and pieces of information from dozens.
So what is the relationship between these aliens and, say, the Palladians?
Palladians are food, rocat are the ones that do the eating.
I see.
And there's actually they actually got a channel conversation from them where they actually did a raid on a Palladian world once. And it was simply for a hunt.
I bet it didn't go well for the Palladians.
Not for the Palladians. No, it didn't.
How do you feel?
I need to stay out of it. I just record the stories and just let the stories let the stories float on their own.
I see. What I was going to ask is how you feel about what would be if we had to make hard and fast lines that might not exist on higher planes. If we had to pick good and evil, like they seem to be evil. So are you a channel? So you think most people would say you're a channel for evil?
I channel just the rocat. I believe they have their own concept of good and evil. We have our concept. It's going to conflict. So I just believe they're just a lion and we're the gazelle. It's no different. We're maybe a little more brainy than a lion and gazelle, but it's just a smarter version of the Serengeti. They just happen to be the predator. We happen to be the prey. I'm just
Um,
chronicling information I'm obtaining.
do you benefit from this, from being the channel?
No, no, I don't get anything out of it. Just stories and stuff to read. That's about it.
Really?
And nobody seems to care about what I'm writing, except for people want to like say, "Oh, he believes this. Oh, he believes that." Yeah, it's more detrimental than beneficial, even knowing this information.
Does it
I get a
alienate
lot.
you
I
from
get a lot.
society?
Yeah, pretty much. I get a lot of online bashing because of it, because of what it says, and all the people, a lot of young people are so liberal. They're completely opposite of what I've written. So there's no audience for it.
I see.
There's no audience.
Do you have any messages that are pertinent to people that are from
No.
the? No, they have nothing. They normal people are
They don't
just
have
out of the
anything to
loop.
say to humanity. No, they have nothing to say to us.
I see.
They just plot behind their backs. Sometimes I'll do a spy session where I listen to them without them knowing I'm there, and they're talking. They talk totally different than when they talk to me. Like they'll be plotting wars and stuff, and to me, we just bullshit with each other.
Well,
And
how
when I'm spying on them, then they're talking serious business, like what they're going to do and their plans, and that's when I usually get the good stuff.
can you give me an example of what some good stuff might be?
War plans, their strategies when they invade somebody. I'll pick up a.
And we're ta-
I'll get a good time when they're invading a planet or something, and
I see.
I'll get the bridge crew on a ship or whatever. I'll overhear the conversations.
How do you see your relationship with them? Are you like a friend, a pet, a tool?
They claim I'm the reincarnation of their emperor's son, but that was a previous emperor, the guy I deposed to get Jacob into power. So one time I used to manipulate their politics trying to get home. Because I could use my spying to spy on their enemies. So I helped one of the generals take control. Because he said, "Oh, we'll get you home. We'll get you restored to your Rocot form to get me into power." And I did. And I'm still, 10 years later, I'm still waiting. So I did. I used to use my powers to influence their culture, like their politics, but it's not going anywhere.
Okay. Well, do you think was it a trick, or do you still have a plan here? Is there still something for you?
I have no plans here. Just to simply exist is about it. And just keep waiting, and not sure if I'm going to continue manipulating them or not. Using my powers to help the general guy get Jacob further.
So, would you expect them to come back for you in a ship, in a craft, be like hop aboard, or how does that work?
He was supposed to come here in a spaceship. He was supposed to invade the Earth, come get me, and leave. But then he was leave whatever. I don't know if he was going to leave someone here to continue his mission, or just take me back, and everybody goes back. And I don't know. I don't know what the plan was. It kept changing. There's a lot of changes. It never stayed consistent. So I don't know what they were planning after they got me off the planet. But I told them, do whatever you gotta do, get me off this rock. And I said, I don't care what you do, just get me off the rock.
Anywhere's got to be better than here, right?
I used to, in the early 2000s, I actually had people that wanted to come with me. But some of the Starseeds were fed up and wanted to come with me because they realized the missions were over. It was never going to amount to anything. Because it looked like they wanted to, so many people wanted to save the Earth, and it's like, really, oh, this world's getting worse and worse. And I showed them the proof this world's getting worse and worse, and they're like, oh crap, we aren't really achieving anything. We're just talking. We're just talking the talk. It's like, and this guy shows us we're talking the talk, but not walking the walk. We're not changing anything. And there's a couple of people wanted to come with me.
Who are these people? You said the Starseed. Are they people who can channel like you, or?
There was a few Starseeds. There's some guy from Australia, and a few people from the United States. Someone in Texas, another one in Minnesota wanted to come.
And these are people with abilities like you.
They have different abilities. Some similar. I think all of them channel, but they channel different their own stuff. I never really got into too much of their details because it was like new agey and wasn't really all that interesting.
That is one thing, and you seemed to imply earlier that the people normally in these circles, they want some hippy dippy crap with flowers and gay
Yeah,
stuff,
so
right?
all it is just regurgitated Hindu beliefs without the cycle, without the wheels, the creation and destruction, the cycle.
That's
They
yeah.
only have the creation, but they don't have the destruction. It's in a cycle. It's in a wheel. It's even on India's flag. That wheel on the flag. It's a wheel. It's supposed to be the wheel. It's supposed to be like the cycles of the universe. There's like creation, destruction, and it's kind of like the wildfires in California. Some trees you have to burn them for the seeds to germinate. You have to destroy the. That's the destruction for creation to renew itself, and that's kind of what a lot of religions talk about. But the New Agers don't want to acknowledge the bad part.
Yeah.
They're so lofty in the light, they don't want to acknowledge the bad. They don't know the full cycle. They're ignoring half of everything.
Do you think it'd be beneficial for people to study, say, Hinduism and other pagan religions? Would they help them get a grasp in the world we're in?
I think they really should. I think they really should. They're going to believe in New Age stuff, like New Age concepts, like summer love, hippie stuff. I think they really should look to the root religions it came from.
Do you
I think
think
they really should. Just look at the roots of where it came from. A lot of it comes from India. They should look to the root things they get the ideas from.
do you think people should go back to their the traditions of their blood, like what their ancestors would have worshipped? Is that the best thing, or is some just
I don't
so
think it's a
lost?
bad- I think they should just study what they believe in. Like look to its history. It can be Chinese and a Christian. If you're going to be Christian, at least look to the history of the religion and see where it came from and understand its history.
Yeah.
And then see why what you believe is what it is now. It may not be what it was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think the most important thing for people is to focus on what they can actually believe, because that's what's going to change the world around them when they know that they have the power to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter doesn't matter what culture you come from. It just matters what you believe in, knowing the context of it. And a lot of people don't want to know the context. They want the fluffy bunny religion out of it. They don't want the other part. Even that Christians who believe in God, they don't believe in the devil. I've actually seen that, especially in San Francisco. I have seen that before.
Yeah.
But you can't have one without the other. It's in the Bible. It's in your books. It's there.
To you, are these the God and devil referenced? Are these like other, alien races, or are they like spiritual concepts?
Well, the road cut can understand as alien races.
What was that?
And it's in the Rokat religion. The Rokat religion even mentioned Jesus as an invading force, as an actual force of evil and destruction to the Rokat. He's actually mentioned in the prophecy somewhere.
Is he like their Antichrist?
They actually mentioned Jesus Christ as the Son of God, as an invader to the Rokat homeworld. In the Rokat religions, Jesus Christ and God are evil.
Do they have a God?
They have a God. His name is Balithra. It's similar. I think it's pretty similar to the duality. It's very similar to a duality concept. So some of the religions don't really have a duality. It's just kind of it's like you're good, you're for the people. If you're bad, you're in it for yourself or something like that. They don't really have like a solid. It's kind of hard to explain it. Well, I've had people read the books before, and they had a hard time understanding it.
I know a lot of people in my circles. People would say that like evil is basically whatever stands in the way of your genetics and your ecosystem. I don't know if that's selfish, or maybe that's just the way living things behave.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just how living things are. But it's a little complex for me to understand it, because I channeled it, but I wasn't aware of. I did the channeling while I was drunk, so half of it I was blocked out for, with the entity doing all the writing.
I see.
I'll come back later on and read it.
Well, that's common with shamanism.
I think it is like shamanism. I know the Egyptians would use alcohol in some of their rituals too, would consume alcohol to break down the mental barriers. I know some shamans do it, and some people use mushrooms and whatever. And I guess what it's for is to break down the barrier between your body and the spirit world, allow this stuff to communicate smoother.
So you do automatic writing? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what the style is. I would feel, to me, I don't hear the words, like actually hear the words. It's like a vibration. It's like the vibration of a word. It's like It's like since I'm speaking, talking to aliens and stuff, I can't like understand them directly. Like if they were to directly talk to me, it would be in their language. So I'd hear the vibrations, like the energy of a word, and it would be like the concept. Oh, that word would have to, like they'd be like, blah, 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 and it would mean, oh, flowers. That's feel the flowers, or there'd be like the energy would transcend through me. I get the energy of the word.
I've had some experiences on psychedelics where I felt like things were talking to me through empathy. There were no words, but I always knew exactly what they were getting at.
Yeah, it's not a word. It's a feeling of the idea of a word. And that's how I would write the book. If I were to channel it, if I were to re-channel everything now, it would come through slightly different. Because I know more words than I did when I wrote them the first time. I know bigger words now than I did when I first wrote the books. So it'd probably be a little different.
So when you get the information, you basically take in the ideas and then the words are yours?
Yeah. So the words are what's in my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Or what words I know. But some of the books I tried to talk about technology and stuff, and of course the aliens knew I'm not even going to have a word for some of their technology. Like we're talking about one of the times we were talking about the Crane Core, which is a planet-sized ship that's supposed to turn an age. It's supposed to rejuvenize aging stars, like reverse the aging on stars or something like that. And they were talking about the power system, and it was like they even admitted I don't even have the words to use to describe this. They knew that I don't have the words to describe it. And it appeared in the channeling session about it. We're talking about it. It's like, oh, he doesn't even have the words. He has no way to describe this. So we did the best we could to describe it, how it worked. How this stuff had some heavy element, like the atomic number was like in the 600s. Another element was in the 900s, and they're inherently unstable. Somehow the masses would switch, and it would create like an energy would flow between it, and it would go how the ship powers itself. It was some kind of perpetual energy system. And they were trying to describe that. I had a little diagram in there about it and stuff, so I did the best I could on some of the things. A lot of it is how it would go through, is just like the concepts of what I could see it in my mind, kind of like how Stephen Hawking was like trying to understand the black hole. He would visualize it, be all visual in his mind.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do it with the channeling.
There was Nikolai Tesla. He used to go into like epileptic fits, and he would have visions of the things he would create.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I don't have epileptic fits, but I actually I have filmed myself once, and there's nothing to see. I'm just sitting there typing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not quite as epileptic as Tesla, but
do you think?
Who knows what I would get if I had his knowledge to begin with? Who knows what I would have brought through?
Do you think
that kind of knowledge?
You were chosen? I think sometimes when these things happen, it's like the seemingly lowliest people in society who are chosen to be the messengers. And I think
I don't know why that is. I really don't know why that is. Like,
part of
Jesus
me,
Christ was probably a homeless person on the street 2,000 years ago. Gandhi was homeless. Tesla was freaking bananas.
Yeah.
Einstein was a patent clerk. I think he might have been the best off. Was Einstein might have been the best off of all these geniuses. Hawking was going to be in sports if he didn't get that muscle condition or whatever, that mustard, I don't know what it's called. He had some muscle disease or whatever that made his muscles waste away.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they always pick the weirdest people. It doesn't get the message through.
It's almost like it seems calculated in that
you can't see the rules for these people.
To me, it's like when Jesus says, like, let those who have ears hear. So it's like you can only get the information if you're ready. If you're not going to be judgmental about this or that thing, if you're actually ready to get the information.
Maybe that's why, because rich people are judgmental from birth practically. They learn it so early.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why, but you can't change the world from the bottom. You really can't change it from the bottom, from a position at the bottom. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
It took thousands of years to really affect any major changes. It took at least hundreds of years to start making major changes in the world. And who knows how long it'll take mine will ever get seen by the right people.
Well, I would like to help you change that. I'd like to help get the word out there. This is all very fascinating to me.
It's like to get it seen by somebody worthwhile. Right now, the only person that even looked at it was Chris. I don't know if you know about Chris Chan or not, but
I
she
may or
thinks
may
it
not be a human
was.
encyclopedia. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she seems to absorb some of my stuff. I don't think she'll ever read the books and know what she just absorbed into her mythos. Right now, I'm dealing with that problem and her trolls.
How
I think
powerful is
I might have
she?
pulled everything.
What is her
So
role?
what?
What is
Well,
Christine's
she
role?
claims. Well, that Jacob claims she's my sister from my past life. With the emperor I deposed, the one I took off the throne.
I see.
Because when I was helping Jacob take over the empire, with the promise he would take me home by any means necessary, I deposed my father permanently. And there's a girl in Minnesota who was supposed to be on the same trip with me back home. Was one of my sisters. Was one of my sisters, and Christine's supposed to be the youngest sister, even though she's actually the oldest of the three of us. I'm the second oldest, and this girl named April's the youngest, which is the ages are all scrambled, but whatever. We're claiming to be relatives on this whole thing.
So
That's
are you,
Christine's role. She's supposed to be my sister. I'm supposed to be an heiress to the throne or something like that, because I don't want the position, and she's not eligible for it.
so are you
That's
trying
a
to
whole nother
merge your
story.
power, or
We're supposed to merge our powers to return home through a magical means, but it's not going to happen because April's gone. I don't know where she is. And I think it took all three of us to do some kind of portal ceremony. And now it's just me and Christine are going to do it, but I don't think she's up for it. I don't think she has the skills to do it.
what skills does it take? What is this ritual?
It's a ceremonial ritual. It's almost like Aleister Crowley stuff. It's complicated symbols and shit. So I don't think Christine's really up for it.
Is it anything
I don't
like
think I
the
can teach it.
Moonchild rituals?
I'm not familiar with that, but it would be like the Goetia, similar to that, like Necronomicon Goetia, things like that. Symbols all over the floor and walls and
I see.
black mirror,
So
stones, candles.
so it requires, I guess,
Forms.
you have to basically summon. Are you summoning another being that opens the portal?
I'd be summoning a portal, but I don't have the exact ritual. I still got to work on that part, but I might still work on it just to have the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like I was supposed to open a portal through a symbol on my wall. But I'm not sure which gods or how many gods I was supposed to do it through, but it seemed like it was through 9 gods I had to summon.
Well, I'll bet Christine has an important role to play in the future, and I wouldn't write her off just yet.
Well, the way the trolls are, I think she's pretty much out of the picture as of now. They pretty much control her completely, so I'm pretty much I have to go alone or something.
Do you mean
Right,
when you
there's a
say the
single
trolls that
person.
control her? Is it like a specific group, or just in
There's a
general?
group. There's a group of people that are dedicated to controlling her. There's definitely a group. There's definitely a central group that control her. And I know it's Megan K, Ringo. I'm not sure if Marvin and Noel are still involved. I'm not sure how much they're still involved anymore. But I think Marvin still is. So I think he owns the Discord and is leaking a bunch of stuff saying I'm gonna die in a self-sacrifice, some weird shit. And I got on Christine's case about that over text and said, nope, I ain't doing that. I gotta be alive for this. If I'm dead, she ain't going home. I have to be alive for her to go back.
So can you do this? Can you do this ritual basically for her? Can you do the ritual and then take her with you, whether she likes it or not?
No, well, that's what I'm going to try, but I think I'm not taking her with me if I do it by myself. I'm just going home. She has to be here with me. She has to be here physically at the portal. The portal's going to be in my apartment. She won't have access to my apartment unless she's here.
Got ya. If you go home alone, are you the heir?
What?
If you go home alone, are you the heir?
Yeah, but I don't want the position of power. It's just hell. Think about it. You have to be responsible for this. Think about what Trump has to do to rule a country. And then times that by 206 countries on the planet. It times that by 1 billion planets. You can only imagine how much work that's going to be. I don't want it. I just want to go home.
But the best ruler is probably the man who doesn't want the job.
Yeah, but I really don't want the job. I was going to let Christine do it and get thrown out of office. That's what I was told was going to happen.
I'm all for Christine being the empress of the universe.
Well, she could with the Rokan Empire. She would have the resources to do some serious damage. She has the resources of 1 billion planets. And I don't know how many allies, what I've channeled and read about in my books, it seems like they're pretty powerful. I don't know if Christine should have that kind of power. I think it's way too much.
Yeah. Do you have any takes on the dimensional merge?
It's going to be one hell of a flop. The cartoon characters, I have done stuff that she cannot do, involving trying to cross spirits over all that stuff. Because I'm sure you've probably known I've made pictures on Twitter, showing pictures of spirits and stuff coming out of my walls and all that.
Yes.
And Christine can't even do that. All she has is Megan, Noel, and other people faking pictures, just photoshopping her Sonichu characters in the photographs, saying, "Oh, I just look who I saw today." It's so obviously not even Paint Shop Pro or anything fancy. It's just paintbrush from Microsoft, nothing fancy, and she believes it's real. So
yeah.
I don't think she's capable of anything magic. I don't think she's even capable of it at all.
For me, I wonder. She makes claims about the astral travels to Quickville, and for me, I do believe the preoccupation and obsession with Sonichu over all of these years might have manifested something within her mind that she's able to travel to. I don't know how real that gets.
As far as I know, considering I also have autism too, and it's never going to get out of her head unless she knows some really deep occult knowledge. Unless she knows what she's really doing.
Yeah.
She's not going to get anything out of her head. She's not going to be able to. It has to have a life force to cross it over to this side. It has to have some kind of life force or an energy behind it. It's like when the Jewish mysticism, they create the golem. They have to put life force into it to make it happen. And she doesn't know how to do that. It's like she might be able to make her house haunted. A demon, there might be I know there's something satanic involved. Because I don't know if you know about the satanic agenda, the satanic transgender agenda, or the gay agenda, also under Satanism, that it fits perfectly with what's happened to Christine, that she was transformed from being male into female when she never had a history of gender dysphoria as a youth. Which the real transgenders that I've met here in San Francisco, they knew they were trans when they were 5. The moment their self-awareness really sets in their brain development, they start noticing, oh, there's something wrong with me. I don't feel like a boy, or I don't feel like a girl, or whatever. But Christine never had that until she was like 28 almost.
Yeah.
I don't know how old she was in 2014 when the stuff really started kicking up.
Chris, it seems like she's transgender, but only because she hates men so much.
Yeah,
that's what I get.
What I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking too. That's all it is. I don't think it's real. I think it's part of the satanic agenda. I think there may be a demon or a spirit involved in this Quickville. It might have provided a house for a demon to inhabit or spirit to inhabit.
Well, I bet if the ghost of Bob is there, he's not happy.
And when you create worlds like that, things are going to be attracted to that energy. They're going to want to live in it.
Yeah.
She create a house and she put it up on the market. So and every spirit in heaven and hell or whatever realms are going to see this. They're going to see this dwelling sitting here, and they're going to inhabit it. And I have summoned magic. I've summoned one of her characters before, so there has to be a life force. There is a life force in it. I don't know what spirit's in it, but there's something in it. And I didn't like what it was. And I've messed with evil before. It felt bad. And I tried telling her there's something in this, and there's something evil in this. And she got mad at me for it, so I never questioned her again.
With all of the attention and angst directed towards Christine, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
There's something evil in it. And I don't know. I'm not sure which demon or spirit, but I'm going to do some more research and try to find that out.
Yeah, if you ever
So
find
I know
out,
what
please
I'm
get
dealing
back to
with.
me.
I'm not going to be able to tell her what it is because she's going to get mad at me again. But at least I'll know for myself and how to handle it if she visits me or not. If I visit, let's see her at the BabsCon, I always know how to handle it. I'll know what to do to handle it. Because I'm not going to let that thing in my house. It's going to do something like that, and I don't want it in my house. I channeled
That's
enough evil
understandable.
spirits and demons, entities, and whatever over the years to know there's certain things I don't want to work with.
So you think this entity follows Chris around?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think it's definitely feeding off her misery.
Yeah.
She knows she's got to be in a lot of misery the way her life is. You know she's pushing out a lot of energy because of that, the way her life is, how shitty it is. She's
Yeah.
definitely pouring out a lot of energy, a lot
You
of
know,
negative energy over there.
it makes
And
me
that's what's
feel
feeding
bad.
me.
I see videos of people on the internet who claim they're gang stalked and people like chase them around and harass them all day. But like Christine is like the first verified case of that, of people actually just like harassing a person for sport.
Yeah,
So
I've
I
seen it
do feel
with
bad.
other trained people before, but hers is definitely the worst.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything worse than that. But I don't know. I tried everything I could to try to get her out of it, at least try to lessen the impact. But she clearly wants to continue down that road.
So do you think Null is definitely a troll?
Yeah, I think it was just being nice just to keep graces with her to keep in contact.
Is it?
And he got
Yeah.
tired of playing along. He just didn't want to play along, but you have to play along, be friends with her. And it's pretty obvious. I tried just being friends with her without the magic, without the dimensional merge, and she didn't even respond to me. So pretty clearly, you can't be friends with her without the merge. There's just no way around it. And Noel didn't want to play with it. Noel didn't want to play along. Chris is just too deep into that stuff. There's no way to get her out of it now.
Yeah, she would have to basically restart her entire life.
Yeah, she'd have to basically give up everything she ever known. Like ever known for like the last 20 years. She'd have to give up everything.
All right, Jacob. Well, this has been a great talk, and I appreciate you answering. I did not expect to talk to you, and frankly, I was unprepared. But I'd like to do this
Well,
again with some prepared questions and stuff, and get some really good content.
okay, well, just let me know.
I will.
Or actually, you should text me so make sure I'm home next.
Okay.